16 years old. He was arrested, accused of stealing a book bag, and they put him on Rikers Island, a book bag, and put him on Rikers Island as a 16-year-old, and kept him there for 3 years. But while keeping him there, they tortured him. They didn't feed him 4 days in a row, off and on, for 3 years, and then on top of that, he tried to commit suicide, and when he attempted, they beat him up even more. And then released him 3 years later, saying, oh, we got the wrong person. And then what they did was just send him home. No therapy, no... I mean, he was in solitary confinement. He was in solitary confinement for not over 900 days.
They didn't compensate him for it?
So yeah, they try to shut us up, my family, with a lawsuit. But we don't want to settle, take money, and then that money is a gag order. It makes you shut up.
And then it happens to somebody else.
And then it happens to someone. So that's why we're out here making sure the public knows who my brother is and what he stands for is all the children that's being accused of something minuscule like stealing a book bag when they knew they had no real charges on them. And then put them on Rikers where they can torture you.
It's so sad.
Who they killed?
Kalief Browder!
Scream his name and say it louder!
Doing this for Kalief Browder!
Scream his name and say it louder!
We're doing this for Kalief Browder!
Scream his name and say it louder!
We're doing this for Kalief Browder!
Say his name!
Kalief Browder!
What's his name?
Kalief Browder!
Justice for?
Kalief Browder!
Who they killed?
Kalief Browder!
Justice for?
Kalief Browder!
Say his name!
Kalief Browder!
Justice for?
Kalief Browder!
Who they killed?
Kalief Browder!
Scream his name and say it louder!
Doing this for Kalief Browder!
Scream his name and say it louder!
Doing this for Kalief Browder!
Scream his name and say it louder!
Doing this for Kalief Browder!
Justice for?
Kalief Browder!
Who they killed?
Kalief Browder!
Justice for?
Kalief Browder!
Say his name!
Kalief Browder!
Justice for?
Kalief Browder!
Who they killed?
Kalief Browder!
What do we want?
Justice!
And when do we want it?
Now!
We're now going to read you the facts
We are now going to read you the facts
of what happens on Rikers Island,
of what happens on Rikers Island,
torturous chamber in our new
torturous chamber.
fact 1.
Fact 1
Rikers is a racist organization.
is a racist organization.
90% of people held on Rikers
90% of people held on Rikers
are black and Latino.
are black and Latino.
Fact 2.
Fact 2
Fact 2.
Fact 2
Rikers punishes poor people.
Rikers punishes poor people.
79% of people on Rikers
79% of people on Rikers
are there because they can't afford to post bail
are there because they can't afford to post bail
during arraignment.
during arraignment.
Fact 3.
Fact 3
Rikers breeds
Rikers breeds
sexual and physical violence.
sexual and physical violence.
In 2014, correction officers
In 2014, correctional
on
officers
Rikers use physical force
on Rikers use physical force
4,074 times.
4,074 times.
Sexual victimization occurs
Sexual victimization occurs
on Rikers is reported
on Rikers is reported
almost 3 times as much as the national average.
almost 3 times as much as the national average.
Fact 4.
Fact 4
Rikers abuses children
Rikers abuses children
and mentally ill people.
and mentally ill people.
Federal investigators
Federal investigators
found that 43% of male adolescents
found that 43% of male adolescents
on Rikers has been subjected
on Rikers have been subjected
to the use of force by staff at least on one occasion.
Subjected to the use by staff on at least one occasion.
more than one occasion.
40% of people
40% of people
held on Rikers
held on Rikers
suffer from mental health issues.
suffer from mental health issues.
and make up 3/4 of the injuries from staff use. Of course. Fact 5. Rikers acts as a prison. Not a jail. Not a jail. 85% of people not been convicted of a crime and are held during these proceedings. Much longer than 6 months. By New York's speedy trial. By New York's speedy trial law. The Ready Rule. Fact 6. Rikers is a waste of public spending. It costs $1,671 to detain a person for 1 year. 1.5 to 2 million to 2 billion spent annually to keep Rikers open. Fact 7. Rikers is a torture chamber. Rikers is a torture chamber.
Hello everyone, my name is Walter Newsom, and I'm here to address the injustice that our system breeds. In the case of Kalief Browder, there's no way in the world that he should have been sitting on Rikers Island stinking for all those years, okay? Without a trial. The fact is, the one witness in the case went back to South America, okay? And the DA's office could not get in touch with him for all those years that Kalief Browder was in jail. He should not have been there with grown men, yes, and we should raise the age, but the bottom line is he should not have been in jail. If it were not for the mistakes of those people who sit in those offices over there, who have sworn an oath to us, to the people, not to the system, not to the police, but to the people of this great state, they swore an oath to protect us. And that means protecting us from each other, protecting us from the conditions on Rikers Island, protecting us from this police. However, they abuse that. They abuse that oath. They neglect that oath. And that one DA who fundled, who bumbled, who fucked up that case so terribly, the one who messed up that case so bad, was just given a $40,000 raise by our new district attorney. Maybe you didn't hear me correctly. The DA gave the man who mishandled the case that led to Kalief Browder's death, was just given a raise. Okay, let's talk facts. The fact of the matter is, it is not black, it is not white, it is not about Jews, it is not about Muslims. It's about this system. And this system gives no justice to those that are oppressed. And until we get justice, we'll be out here fighting, we'll be out here marching, we will cry, we will beg, we will fight for freedom. Yes. The problem is, history will tell you that if you oppress a people for too long, it will lead to a revolt. You think about a pit bull, right? You have a pit bull, and that could be the most peaceful dog in the world, but if you keep slapping that pit bull, one day that pit bull is gonna bite you. And one day, if they don't give us our justice, we will bite back. Fight the power.
It's an honor to have you guys here to celebrate his birthday. Even though he should be here today, 23 years old, celebrating a birthday after being incarcerated for 3 years. It's an honor for you guys to be here, and I'm sure he's thankful for it. I did want to say that by me being human, I cried just like everyone else. I can tell you from the cries I cried, Kalief, he wasn't the type before he went to jail to cry. He was a young boy who believed he was a Dragon Ball character. He was a young boy who had a promising future. He was a young boy in our community of people that make up what we have in the Bronx, New York, Manhattan, and all our boroughs. He's somebody that can live next to every one of us. And yet, the system failed him.
the people has to know what happened. Because if it could happen easily to him and he doesn't represent one person, he represents all the children, all the youth, all the teenagers, all the young adults that get abused, misused, mistreated deliberately by the system. By not just the courts, but by the Department of Corrections, not by just the Department of Corrections and the courts, but also by the New York City Police Department. He was let down by all the systems of government, even the Department of Health. So I actually wrote something that I wanted to say to Kalief, and just bear with me, please. Today, my mother can't be here. She's actually well past sick due to the depression that causes a family, that comes from a family being broken up by the system. So I wrote, how can I, sorry. I cry for how I feel that while I watch family members look on, my brother couldn't be the father he could have been. My brother couldn't make me an uncle. He's been stripped of the chance of being an uncle for any of us, my brothers, my family. Kalief, you used to never cry. When we were kids, you thought you were the strongest Dragon Ball character, and I thought it was what you were supposed to do, not cry. But I witnessed when you came home and you were sitting in my car. I used to drive you in the middle of the night so that you could feel comfortable, because you didn't feel comfortable in a room. You wanted to be outside, get fresh air, just to escape the cell that you still carried home. I watched as you slept in my car, in the comfort of my car, and although you didn't cry, I cried because I watched you as you slept, and your body twitched, your arm swung out, and I thought to myself, you're still fighting even during this peaceful drive. I'm sorry, Kalief, I couldn't help you, I couldn't fight for you, and even while you're home, in your dreams, I can't fight for you. I started to think as I rewatched the videos of the officers who beat you while you were handcuffed and weak from depression, anxiety, stress, and the lack of food for 4 days. I started to think, if the police procedure and protocol is to apply knees to the back of the head, while 5 other officers stand on top of you with their knees on your back, the natural thing for a human to do is fight or flight. So when your life is being risked, you'll fight or flight too. So are these procedures, I start to question now, are these procedures accurate? Can we stand for this again? I don't think so. And then I thought, how many fights have I gotten in with you? We fought, but we fought out of love. I fought out of the love that I have for my family as a human being, because I know I wanted greater for him. You and every one of our brothers, I wanted greater for. All of our family. Not because I had the power and authority over you. And you still deserve better. This is why I dedicated my life and my time and my energy and my sleepless nights to fight for the complete disregard, not just to a teenager, not just to a youth, but to completely dehumanize another human being, or to demoralize themselves as officers, to justify in their heads that it's okay to make you miss 4 birthdays, that it's okay to make you miss your nephew's birth, your niece's birth, and graduations that you could have had yourself. I will fight for you, Kalief, and I'll make them remember your name and what you represent. The innocence that's stolen from our children, our youths, our teenagers. Not even our youths and our teenagers, not at all. from the humans of this world, the humans of New York City, that they stole another human life from this earth, this day that he was born. Thank you.
How y'all doing? My name is Jermaine Antonetti. I'm 19. And this is all I have to say. I can hear my neighbor crying. I can't breathe. Cause I'm in the struggle, saying I can't leave. Calling out the violence of this racist police. We ain't gonna stop until our people are free. Hey, I can hear my neighbor crying. I can't breathe. Cause I'm in the struggle, saying I can't leave. Calling out the violence of our racist police. We ain't gonna stop until our people are free.
Now's the time for myself, and I'm glad all of you took a part of this, to fight against the system that's held us down for so long, that's held my cousin down for so long. And as much as I would give anything in the world to have him back, to just have him there, I'm just happy that now he is the face to a cause that we should have started fighting a long time ago. And my ending version, I just want to say happy birthday to my cousin, and I love him. I love his brother, I love my whole family, and I wish they all were here with us today to fight for this cause. And that's all.
Nabil, my campaign is comprised of a group of grassroots organizations, like the campaign to shut down Rikers and comply with other groups, Millions, shut it down. Nabil, you want to say something?
Hey y'all, peace.
Peace.
My name is Nabil Hussein. I'm an organizer with Millions March NYC. We're one of the founding organizations in the campaign that shut down Rikers. We do a lot of work in the movement for Black lives here in the city. I never knew Kalief, but when I read his story last year, it really affected me because my older brother, who's my only sibling, he also committed suicide after struggling with mental health issues and some criminalization, being in jail in my hometown. And yeah, I mean, there's so much that we could say, but just to focus on the fact that 40% of the people on Rikers have mental illness, right? I mean, just to say two things about that. First of all, we know that not everybody who is in there who is mentally ill, they don't all go in that way, right? Like, you take someone who's perfectly healthy, who's perfectly, has never had a mental issue in their life, you put them in that kind of environment, what do you think it does to them? Everything that I've heard from Akeem and from everyone about Kalief was that he was a perfectly normal, healthy child. But what did they do to him, right? And the thing is that we have to understand that these jails and prisons, where they're being used to warehouse people. People who are already mentally ill are being put in there instead of receiving treatment. People who are homeless are being swept up off the street and arrested. All that jails and prisons do is they serve as a mask, as a cover for the problems that the society is not solving. What we actually need to do, what our campaign calls for, is to actually invest in the services that would actually keep our communities safe, like mental health care, like rehabilitation, like jobs, like education. And that's how we can actually move towards the kind of society that we need to live in, where everyone is taken care of, where we actually address violence and all these issues in a way that solves them instead of with jails and prisons, which only increase them. And that's what we need to demand, that the city divest from Rikers Island. The only way, none of these abuses are ever going to be solved while Rikers Island is open, all right? The only way that we're going to solve it is to close it down and not open any more jails, all right? If they build it, they will fill it. It's that simple. The only reason to open up a jail is because you're planning to lock people up. We need to close down Rikers Island and make sure that the city does not lock up so many people in the first place.
Yeah.
We're gonna now close this out. After, I have a poster board that I want to send to my mother to show solidarity and to write something of support, just so it's like a birthday card to Kalief, basically. But before we do this,
This is de Blasio.
Ponce and Cuomo. They allowed him to be tortured on Rikers. So, this man who represents the people who failed my brother, that's what exactly he deserves. These are it says beat the system, and this man, that's what he deserves. And the last one, the system. This is what he deserves, and this is all the system. This is all of who that was suffered from the system. Thank you for coming out.